This is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of business. If you've never watched me before, on Mondays I do business broadcasts. And Tuesday, broadcasts on property. Wednesday is a post about celebrities. And Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, you never know what to expect from me. So, today I'll be sharing about the probably Brexit property strategies, as I seem to be getting asked a lot of these questions, especially with May's current strategy in saying, well, you know, guys, English people are bored, Britain is bored of the whole Brexit thing, let's get on. Let's get on and so on. And there's been so much controversy about what she said. So in some senses, I believe that actually our Prime Minister is a little bit correct, but I'll go on to that in a second. So I'll be looking again at the property investment strategies that you should use during Brexit. I'll be covering flips, which is buying and selling, renting, overseas purchases. Now that's a lovely, lovely thing, because apparently Amsterdam, the Netherlands is the best place to invest in at the moment. And also I'll be sharing something called the ripple effect from London. So again, if you've never joined me before, this is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of business. And if you enjoy this broadcast, please do share it with your friends, you know, and comment below, ask your questions and so on, because they're very, very important. All right, well, here's the thing, guys. I think I have shared this about Brexit before, and the first thing is we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. It's a time of uncertainty, and uncertainty always causes problems in the stock market and the property market. So yeah, we don't know. We can make guesses, so we can say that if, for example, Brexit goes badly, I think our Bank of England chappie, he said that he thinks property prices are going to crash by 30 to 35%. Property investors, we believe that's a little bit extreme, but we do believe property prices will go down. In fact, whether Brexit goes nicely or not, whether there is a good deal or not, I don't think it really matters. I think we will see a slight decline in property prices, as we already have seen since 2016, actually. We've seen London prices really come down quite a bit in their prices. Now, other people are saying, well, okay, London has been affected, but you know, the rest of the UK hasn't. Some, you know, the north, I think it's northwest, has gone up by about 5% over the last year, which is not much really in the grand scheme of things, unless you enjoy the compound effect. So do look at the post just below this broadcast, because my good friend Pete shared something about the compound effect, which always helps you become prosperous and successful in anything you do. So that's the compound effect. Now, in times of an uncertainty, and especially with the property cycle, and I'm not sure if you know what the property cycle but every 10 years on average, so sometimes it's 12 years, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 8, and depending on your area, on average, property prices go up almost 100% every 10 years. That's an average. And I'll give you an example of this. In actually, I think it was 2015 or 2016, I bought a house in my area for 350,000, and it went up without us doing any renovation to it, or upwardly creating some extra spaces and so on to make it worth more. Without doing anything, it went up to 475,000. And that was a massive, massive jump. That's like almost a 30% increase in the price of the property without us doing anything. So it really does depend on the area, and it could take some time. For example, in some of the areas that I invest in, even after 10 years, I'm unlikely to see a 2 or 3% increase. So you might be saying, well, why then do you invest in them? Well, first of all, let me go through the different strategies that are being affected by Brexit. And that's flipping, again, buying and selling, renting, that's just buying and renting the property out to people who can't afford to buy a house. And you've got the overseas purchase. Now, as I said before just now, with whenever you see property going up every 10 years, it also goes down every 10 years. That's right. Yep, properties crash every 10 years. And I've lived through 3 property crashes so far. During times of uncertainty, it's never wise to buy and sell. Really never wise to do that unless you can guarantee that you've bought at a really good price and you can add massive value, because we have been in a declining property environment. So as I said before, since 2016, the London prices have slowly been going down. Now, London suffers from what we call a ripple effect. Well, London doesn't, the rest of the UK does. So when prices go down in London, eventually it ripples out, so other areas start going down in price. And you might be thinking, well, why is that? In other words, when prices start going up in the UK, in London, sorry, prices ripple out so that the surrounding areas, until it gets way up north, also go up. But there's always a delayed effect. And why is that? Well, when London prices go up, so it becomes more and more unaffordable for people to live in. I mean, it's already been so expensive in London. I have some properties in London, and it's become very expensive for people to buy, to live in. So what happens is people start moving away from London, but just far enough so that they can get into work in London. And what happens is more and more houses are bought in the surrounding areas, which pushes those house prices up. And so since those house prices go up, then people have to move further and further away. And that's the ripple effect. Conversely, when the prices of properties start going down in London, we'll find that they become more and more affordable, let's hope, so that more and more people start buying in London and not so much in the surrounding areas. So they will find a decline in people buying in those areas, and essentially their prices will go down. Anyway, so you have this 10-year cycle. 10 years goes up, 10 years goes down. In times of uncertainty and when prices going down, the flipping, which is buying and selling strategies, never good. Never good, unless you buy the properties at rock bottom, or you can guarantee, so you're doing some kind of contract with a corporation or the government, and you can guarantee that you can get the prices you want when you buy something that is perhaps damaged or substandard, and renovate it or knock it down and rebuild. The second strategy is rental. Now, rental is actually one of the best strategies you can have in a declining property environment. Or you could just wait, by the way. You don't have to buy any properties. You could wait and think, well, when will the bottom of this crash be? And nobody knows. So remember that there's this up and down cycle, and nobody knows where that bottom U bit is. I've bought properties at the height of their prices and at their low. I don't really guess. I do a rental strategy. And the rental strategy in times of uncertainty, when property prices are going down, is actually the best strategy. As long as you're buying properties in areas which have lots of jobs, universities which aren't building masses and masses of university pods. So now watch out for that, because even in my area, for example, the university has had a lot of these student pods being built, and a lot of landlords have had empty houses for the last 2 years. Thank goodness so far I've been fortunate not to be impacted negatively by that. But that's something you should watch out for. So rental in this kind of Brexit environment is probably the safest bet if you're looking for a secondary income. Now, what about overseas purchase? My very good friend David Law, who I've posted about in my social media for a while, he works in the Netherlands in property investment, and he's often saying, Ben, come over and invest with me. You know, we'd be great. We'll be a good team. And he's such a wonderful guy. I have a challenge with investing overseas, and that is that I don't know the politics. I don't know the council structure. For example, I know in the area I invest, the council is quite amenable to having discussions with me. Some of the other areas that I invest in, it's been very hard. So, you know, I've had to go to appeal 2 or 3 times. But I don't even know what the structure is in other countries. So if you are thinking of an overseas purchase, then you're better off doing it with someone you've done one sufficient due diligence on, so that you know that they're not going to take your money and run, and 2, have some like collateral. So when we lend money, now we're not money lenders, but we've lent to a number of property investors. We've taken collateral in return in case they don't pay us back. And what do we mean by collateral? In other words, we look for getting a charge on the property that they're either buying, or we actually prefer if you like, collateral on existing property that they've got. Now, if they don't have any existing property, we won't invest with them because we don't believe they're safe enough for the money that we have. So overseas purchase could be fantastic for you as an investment, but you really have to be working with good people. I know, for example, like Spain has been a wonderful place to invest in, but 10, 15, 20 years ago, a lot of people in the UK had invested with builders in Spain and lost all their money. The buildings never got built because the entire property environment crashed totally. So that's why overseas purchases, you really have to know what you're doing, or be living there in that country yourself and have proper connections. So guys, I hope this gives you kind of an idea of what to invest and how to during this current very turbulent times within the UK during this Brexit. The best, just to recap, the best strategy you have is the rental strategy. And by renting out, whether you're doing a house of multiple occupation, that means like several people of different families living in the same house, or you're just doing a straight buy-to-let, it is a stronger strategy. And using the compound effect, I actually over time have preferred rental, and my friends who buy and sell have regretted not keeping a few properties. And why is that? Because over time, the number of properties that you have when you're renting out, it compounds. In other words, you get more and more income, and that increases more than some of the guys buying and selling make. So and when you're buying and selling, by the way, that's like work, unless you've got a good build team. That really is work. So that's the compound effect. Flipping, you don't really have a compound effect in terms of buying and selling. But you make the most money, by the way, in flipping during the boom times, when everybody thinks you can make money from property, and so everybody's buying. So you could buy things at roughly 10 or 15% below market value, do them up and sell them about 30%. All right, guys, so this is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of Business. If you're interested in property investment, do comment below, and do share your perspectives, do share your views. Although I've been investing in property since the late 80s, I don't believe I have an unusual or the only perspective. If this broadcast has been useful to you, please do share it with others. And again, guys, thank you all for looking at my TED Talk. Please do share it with your friends. I do appreciate it. So bye.